Hello everyone, and today we'll be discussing submarines. Submarines, as we all know, is a type of submerged ship that can be operated to take down enemy boats. Now, the first submarine, the idea of a submarine was made by William Bourne, who suggested that the ship can possibly sink. Now, this idea was passed on despite him not creating an actual submarine. The first actual submarine was built by Cornelius von Drevel around 1620, who made an enclosed boat with 12 people propelling with oars, but it did not have an engine. The first true predecessor of the modern submarine was made by the French Navy in 1863, which was powered by engine, and the first militarized submarine was during the Independence War of America, made by David Bushnell, named the Turtle. Starting in World War One, submarine actually became a very important militarized weapon, and they were used on many ways. Most important and famous of all might be the German U-boats, which dealt massive damage to the British Navy at the time. Originally, the warfare was intended for only militarized ships, and as the war started to turn in favor of the British, the Germans decided that they will have an open warfare, meaning that the submarines will start to attack unannounced merchant ships and ships that are neutral, since the British are using those kind of flags to camouflage themselves. And due to that, they sank a American passenger ship, which caused America to join the war and was direct reason for America to join and finally beat the Germans. So submarines became vastly important back then. Nowadays, the submarine has become quite popular among military users, though civilians still cannot possess one. Submarines are much more efficient at finding and sinking targets. They have nuclear-powered engines, some of them, and can also perform nuclear bombing. It is not the most popular type of marine warfare, as expensive, and other methods of countering submarines have been made. One of the problems with submarines is that the material they use. The submarines, especially modern submarines, require a material called asbestos. And asbestos, they can cause serious health issues and to those aboard and those who has been in contact with those, because they are a type of material that radiates radiation, and it could give people cancer. So if you stay on a submarine for a long time, it will cause you serious health issues. The submarines cannot be made in any other material, as asbestos is the lightest and most malleable material out there that could be made into submarines and withstand the water pressure at the same time.
So, Mr. Choi, do you think the use of submarines during a time of war is morally okay?
I think we have to distinguish the words between morally and ethical. Moral is typically an individual has a set of moral values. So when you say like a moral compass, if you're talking about ethical, that means a group of people, like a culture, decides that that is okay, sort of consensus about what they feel is right or wrong. So if you're asking morally, you'd have to ask the individual person. But if you're talking about an ethical question, some of the things you have to keep in mind. The number one thing that I think of is choice. Is the choice of this person. So if they're being recruited into the military and they're forced to be in a submarine, then we know that because of limited amounts of oxygen, they say in some cases, they don't regulate the amount of oxygen properly and can lead to long-term brain damage. And because of things like that, from the scientific point of view, we know that it can have some very deleterious effects long-term for people that are on board. So because of that, it's a matter of choice. If the person already knew, like informed consent, already knew that this could be a possibility, and they had a choice as to whether they were going to go on board or not, that's one thing. But if they're forced to do it, or not told some of the biological consequences, then I think in that case it would be unethical. In terms of for warfare and using it to destroy other ships, I don't know. I don't think I have any expertise to understand that.